talk about mature women friends, which is a story that you wrote for the blog at Shutterstock. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it came up because at Shutterstock we have this really interesting view into what people are searching for. And it turns out that mature women friends or mature female friends is a popular search term, which got me thinking about why and what exactly people are expecting to find when they search for that term. So you are an expert in marketing and in marketing to women over 40, and so we let you loose, and what did you find out?
When I started looking at those pictures, what I found was that there's a lot of imagery out there about, I think, what people think women over 40 do versus what women over 40 actually do, which is really not that different from what anybody else does.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly when you were looking for imagery of female friendships over 40, everybody was either doing something like water aerobics, which, you know, sort of projects old because, you know, it's not right, and your joints can't take that kind of impact. And with all due respect to water aerobics, it's not like you start doing it because you're 40. And there were a lot of pictures of women holding mugs of tea. That seems to be another universal trope for women over 40.
Thanks, Granny.
Exactly, like, come here, honey, this tea will definitely fix whatever ails you. And there was also a lot of woman as not center of life anymore.
Okay.
In that the mature woman in the photo, ostensibly the woman over 40, would be either shown in the background of the group or would be shown positioned next to her teenage daughter. You know, suddenly second and third fiddle to everybody else.
You know, when you get to a certain point, there is a power that comes from the freedom of not being necessarily the center of attention at all times. You know, or a power that comes from knowing yourself really well, or how do you see that when it comes to marketing and in the images? And do you agree? Do you feel that?
Yeah, I absolutely feel that, both as a representative of that point in life and as a marketer. I do feel like, you know, the word baloney keeps coming to mind. This is a no baloney woman.
Uh-huh.
This is not somebody who, you know, who's amazed by things she's, you know, never seen before. Really what it is a bit of a devil-may-care attitude.
Okay, great. That's great.
You know, you're not constantly trying to, you know, vamp for the camera or...
Except when you are.
Except for when you are, of course. And hello, women over 40 absolutely do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think that the thing to remember, this is a person who has lived a little longer, seen a little more, is a little more confident in what she knows, and is perhaps what you lose in being the center of attention, you gain in quiet confidence.
Okay, that's yay. And all of that feels very visually impactful. Those are all things that you can look for in a photograph, look for in imagery, and think about as you speak to that audience, that it's not all mugs of tea or, you know, I think also my personal pet peeve is around glasses of wine, as though our lives are so horrible that we can't get through them without wine, rather than wine being a pleasure or a moment. So I think there's a tea equivalent in a wine glass.
Yeah, I think what I encourage people to do when you're trying to capture a visual of, you know, what female friendships look like over 40 or what women in general look like over 40 is maybe consider the activity that they're doing.
Okay.
Before you even consider what age they are, so that you haven't already stuck them in a box. Like, this is a tea drinker in yoga pants on her way to water aerobics again. I'm completely poking fun of stereotypes, but those images exist in abundance for a reason, I think. And so maybe consider it's, you know, two girlfriends talking on a stoop. That would happen in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 80s.
It's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. So consider the activity before you consider the age.
Okay.
Is one thing I would say. And you know, to the extent you can, ask yourself before you look at the image, is this a complete cliche?
Yeah.
And then run the opposite way.
That makes me want to go forth. Sally forth.
Sally forth, my friend.
So I also love having people come talk to me on Shutterstock. So perhaps I'll just
Hang back.
hang back for some quiet confidence here on Shutterstock. I'm so glad you came to visit.
Oh, I'm so glad you invited me. Thank you. Such fun.